Oh yes, this is the Hardcore Marketing Show. I'm Casey Cheshire, your host for this epic journey. And today's show, sponsored by Cheshire Impact, on a mission to help people maximize their use of Pardot and Salesforce. CheshireImpact.com. Bam. Hey everyone. Before we get started with the show, I'm excited to announce two things. First is that my book, Marketing Automation Unleashed, is now live on Amazon. So go get it. The second thing is we have a new sponsor, Qualified.com. I'm going to tell you about them in the next couple seconds here, and also how you can get a free copy of my book thanks to them. So who are these people? Well, Qualified is the #1 live chat and chatbot platform for Salesforce and Pardot. Sales reps can have real-time, personalized conversations with who? Your hottest website visitors. So I want you to know, I don't just partner with anyone. I genuinely love these guys. And the platform, we use it at my company. Our sales team loves it. We've closed a lot of deals based on it, had a lot of great conversations with prospects too. So, a lot of marketing these days is what? Hurry up and wait, right? Fill out this form. And then if we pass you over to sales, maybe you'll swap 6 emails with them to find a good time to talk. But what if a prospect is doing research right now and they would chat now? Why not give them the opportunity? So the best part is your company actually decides what leads are worth a live chat. There's a lot of noise out there. You don't want to talk to everyone. So Qualified actually connects to Salesforce and Pardot, and it's able to pull in lead and contact information so you can specifically know if you're talking to a VIP, a VP, a decision maker. It's really kind of like magic. Now, if you don't know who someone is, well, what happens then, Casey? Well, that's when the bots come in handy. Chat bots can then ask questions to further qualify a lead, find out if maybe this is someone you do want to talk to. And they can book meetings while your sales team is out. And they can wake up the next morning with a bunch of meetings on their calendar. Now, here's the promo. If you are a company that wants to give your sales team this ability, right, to be able to talk to decision makers right when they're on your website, do this. Go to qualified.com and start a chat, right? They use their own tool, of course. Start a chat. Tell them that Casey sent you. If you have Salesforce Pardot, when you schedule and then do a demo, they will send you a free copy of my book, Marketing Automation Unleashed. Not bad, right? Well, it's only while supplies last. So hop on this thing today. And that's it for sponsors. Let's get to the show. All right. That's it. We hit the button. Now we're just electricity's flying everywhere. We're about to have the most exciting, myth-destroying podcast. We're having so much fun. My guest here today, I can't wait to introduce you all to her. She is equally as smart and wise as she's just badass, and I'm going to just cut through all the BS we get a lot of in marketing. She's a marketing strategist, a thought leader, literally more than 20 years of brand building experiences, B2B, B2C, the biggest brands, the ones you've heard of, other ones that are up and coming. Very much a no BS badass. So we're going to have fun today. Some people call her a free radical, which I think radical marketing is the new term we might have to invent, but we're going to talk about terms later.
Well, that'll be our term.
That can be ours. We can share that one. SVP of Marketing at Flexera, Laura Luckman Kelber. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on the podcast. I can't wait to sort of, bash some things. I love doing that.
Yes, we're going to set the record straight. This is our marketing leadership series. And this is also the very first time we've ever had a conversation like this with someone who is celebrating their birthday. So happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm a 12/12 girl.
We will definitely, we'll definitely have to make sure that tequila is ready for next time. But yeah, let's get into it. So I'm going to start the show the way we start every show. This is heavy. So let me pass this over to you.
Okay.
Okay, take this. This is Thor's hammer. Okay, you got it? Okay.
I got it.
Cool.
I got it.
So take that. Oh, it's heavy, right?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Okay.
Now smash for me some kind of marketing myth, bogus strategy.
Okay, this is the
crazy.
one. This is the one. And the tech geeks are going to make me want to beat them to a silly pulp with that Thor hammer. Okay. Brand is not dead. Branding is not dead. Brand is not dead. wanting to have a quality, consistent brand is not dead. And you want to know why? Because people have less and less attention and need more and more shorthand to make decisions. So branding needs to be something you focus on all the time.
I love that. The less attention, more shorthand, more quick hits right to your brain, little pathway, little shortcut in your brain that this is good.
Right.
Do this.
So that's why the big brands of the world, right? Like McDonald's and Disney, they have visual cues. Yeah. Actually, right now, there's a lawsuit going on. T-Mobile is suing people for using magenta.
Oh, snap. I love that. they got to be doing that for the press because that's what they would do. Unless you're like a small company, you have no law budget. But, they're probably suing people that have like billions of law budget. They're like, just another one.
But so not only are we taking in more information than we can ever process, right, on a day-to-day basis, people can relate to this, but because people have bought into the myth of multitasking, which by the way, we don't do, we are actually decreasing our IQ level by 10 points. Whoa. If we sit next to someone who's multitasking, we actually decrease our gray matter. There's a bunch of studies out there in the academic world that talk about this. And so if you are decreasing your attention span, if you're decreasing your IQ, if you're decreasing all of that, plus you're taking in more information, you need a shorthand. Well, what's a shorthand? Right. A brand. And visuals and audio. So the other thing that's coming that's new-ish, if you're European, you don't know, this is already old hat, but audio branding is coming into play. Ooh. Because audio branding actually resonates more quickly and easily in today's environment. And also, if you think about Alexa and all of the smart speakers, you as a marketer, you have to start thinking about this. Right. Because the diffusion cycle of technology and consumer expectations to business expectations is very short, right? So you see some big technology providers like maybe ServiceNow. I mean, that's one of my competitors.
Sure.
You see them and they're investing in their product voice activation.
Oh,
So, people need to be considerate of their brand. They need to be disciplined about their branding. And what I'm saying is not about having big TV spots or something like that.
Sure.
It's about being thoughtful about what your communication conveys and the insight it taps into to be empathetic with your target market. The language, the colors, everything about that needs to be an empathetic bridge to who you're trying to reach and bringing them in and connecting them back to what you solve.
I love that. Empathetic bridge that thing.
Well, in addition to that, most people make decisions based on emotion.
Right.
They justify that decision with facts. So a brand connection if it's good, is an emotional connection. And not only that, it's not just, I can transition into my 4 Ps rant.
Not yet. We got to go back. I got questions on all these things, but I know you want to smash.
Okay.
Everyone around is like, no, not yet. Emotions are good. I love that. But like, you got me all concerned here. Multitasking. So nobody can do it? Because I know I can't.
You're basically, no, you can't. You're unitasking very quickly.
Okay.
And what we're doing is we're eradicating our attention and our gray matter. So the problem is we are faced with more and more complex problems to solve, and we are diminishing our focus capability. Okay. It's a problem. Like, I think there is going to be a big backlash in the business community. You already sort of see it, like with open office spaces. You see all these articles, thought leadership articles in the social sphere, talking about how actually open office space is not more productive.
Oh, right. Yeah. No.
And so, and it's actually not more collaborative, right? Because go to any open office space, everybody has these things on.
Yeah.
And their heads down, right?
Heads down. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's Steve, who's a loud sales talker,
Exactly. And they have me as a boss and I'm super loud. So they're like, oh God, could she? And I'm a loud typer too. And I'm in an office. So, they sort of get annoyed with me.
Yeah, you're on some call. Yeah, now we got to do this. You're like clank, 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 clank on
Yeah,
the keyboard.
exactly.
Like, oh God, Laura's at it again.
I know, it's true.
But those Bose headsets were well worth that $300 purchase right there. So yeah,
Exactly.
but you mentioned that people around you when you're multitasking, that's
Yeah.
related to the open office. So they lose brain too.
So yes, they do. There's a
Oh,
study. I have the stat if you want me to share it with you. I meant to look it up before we talked today. I just didn't get to it. But there is a study. I pulled all this data up. It's interesting. So we have
yeah.
solution engineers here,
Okay.
like many B2B technology companies. So my head of solution engineering actually wanted me to come talk to them about why they should care about branding. Well, I thought about it from my audience's perspective. They're engineers. So I
Yeah.
took them through basically how our brains work and
Huh.
what's happening in our environment and why branding matters. So I pulled all of this data into a presentation that I gave to them. And they loved it, actually. I mean, they think I'm kooky because I'm the kooky marketer and I dress sort of kooky. But
That's what marketing does, though, right?
yeah, yeah. So, but they
Like I'm in
really,
brand colors myself,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I'm wearing a Who t-shirt because I need to be rock and roll all
Well,
the
it's your
time.
birthday. You do whatever you want to do today.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
Okay, so the
so
people
yeah,
that sit next to me
yeah,
while I'm jumping all over the place, their
yeah.
brains are slowly just dissipating too.
They are. There was a study done about this.
Sorry,
So
Christina. Yeah,
right, right.
yeah.
So I get mad. It's so funny. My team could tell you when I see multi tabs, like the younger people, right, will have
Uh-huh. I've
like
seen
100
that
tabs
too.
open, and I'll say, "You guys are wrecking your brains. Please, I have studies about this. You have to stop." No, no, no. It makes it more effective. I said, "I bet it doesn't." I bet it doesn't.
Yeah.
And then if you look at, there's a great, I shared this with you this week. There's a great trend post that LinkedIn did that I actually think was pretty
You did
thoughtful.
share that with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the trends is that sort of like a shorter work week or less hours at work is actually more productive. And I would have to agree with that because you're more focused, right? You're
Right.
more structured, you're more focused, you say no to more BS.
Mm-hmm.
You tune out all the stupid emails or the bad meetings that you shouldn't be at, right? This is a form of multitasking. I tell my team, you know, I will not allow people multitasking in my meetings. I say, here's the deal. I know you're busy. We're all busy. If you truly can't be in this meeting and be a part of this meeting, or you don't find it valuable in your priorities right now, don't show up.
Right.
And I actually won't be offended. But
Right.
like, I don't want you doing email and reviewing creative and writing something in my meeting because you're not
Yeah.
listening to me.
Yeah. Getting a little Instagram
Or you're not
selfie during the meeting.
right,
Yeah.
right. Or
Come on.
you're not giving the work justice,
And it's
right?
just rude.
It is rude, but our culture, it's so bad, right? Because now we're building technology to help us with our technology.
Right.
It's so absurd.
Right. Eventually, they need technology to like smack you on the wrist. You're like, stop being
Well, that
rude.
we have that, right? You have the
Yeah.
way to shut off your
That's
phones,
true. That's true.
right?
Yeah, you gotta control the screen time, right? So that you don't
Yes. Yes, there's
have too
all these
much.
apps to shut your phone off.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So this came up around the myth of brand is dead. It
Yes.
drives me crazy when people say anything is dead. In fact, I don't
Oh
know
yeah.
of anything that's dead. I mean, even
No.
Tupac is not dead, right? So like nothing's dead. So I can't think of. I mean,
Elvis isn't dead either.
he might not be. I
Or
mean,
Jim Morrison. I mean, we can go
right,
through the list, right?
right. What's dead? Raw, cave. No, cave. I'm
No,
gonna say
no,
caveman
paleo.
diet. No, we have paleo.
Paleo.
Like nothing's
Well,
actually
nothing's
dead.
dead.
I can't think of anything that's dead.
No, and actually you could say real mail is coming back, right? Remember when email came up and they're like,
Yeah,
and then now people are saying email's dead. No, email's not dead.
email's not dead, and this app is not going to be the email killer.
No, no,
No,
Slack did not kill email, right?
no, it didn't. Did you know about that Google Wave thing before Slack?
Yes, yes, because I was at a Google, an organization that used everything Google.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
Google Wave is actually essentially Slack, but a couple years ahead of its time,
Right.
and it was private, exclusive. I remember paying somebody $10 to get an invite for that,
Oh,
just so I didn't
funny.
have to wait for it.
Well,
And then I was like,
also,
this wouldn't kill email. Bye.
I can't remember. I was at a conference. I was at Pop Tech, and all the Googlers were wearing their Google Glass. Remember
Oh
that?
no.
It was hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, people get mad at people doing that. Creepers looking at you,
It was
potentially
crazy.
recording you.
Well, today on the news, they had the Ring videos that are going, the rings are like spying on people. Did you see
What
this today?
is Ring Google's thing?
I don't know who owns Ring. I don't know who owns Ring
Okay.
right now, but Ring is spying on people.
Well, yeah.
Literally, like it's creepy. Like they're
Right.
talking to little girls in their bedrooms.
That is creepy.
Yeah, that was in the news today.
Yeah. Like you won't find me having like Amazon listening to.
Mm-mm.
And they're like, don't worry, you can turn off the microphone. Oh, and they say we're only streaming to Wi-Fi if you say Alexa. Yeah, or if we forgot you said Alexa, or if we thought you said something else, but really you didn't
Right?
say Alexa. Oh, we went streaming anyways. No, you're listening to everything. We know it.
Right.
We know it's the case. So, no thanks.
No, no.
I'll be like some grandfather. Grandkids will be like talking to the house, and I'll be like, "That damn house is listening to me again." Like, granddad, come on,
That's
get with the
true.
get with the
I
the
had
present.
Well, no, I had James Hardy was a client, and they're investing on all that stuff. The smart, like a breathable Hardy board, right? That
Oh,
reads the environment and then makes your house in a way that doesn't need air conditioning or doesn't need heat. It's
yeah.
sort of crazy the things they're
Wow.
investing in. Yeah.
Wow. So nothing really is dead. Why do people do that? Is it clickbait? Are they just trying to get attention when they say
I,
something's dead?
I think it's clickbait, and I also think it's people want certainty and chaos.
Sure. That's true.
Also, they're selling shit.
Yeah.
Someone's always selling shit. So I've been in the agency world a long time. So I've lived in these spaces where we were selling something. And I'm like, that's bullshit. You're selling something. So you're calling it something different.
Right. Right. So yeah, beware of
Like
anyone saying something's dead.
right? Like performance marketing.
Right.
Performance marketing is direct response or direct mail, right? Come on.
What about that pragmatic marketing? I think you were talking about earlier.
Oh God, that's marketing. Like
That's just
who
marketing.
that's just marketing. Like I don't get it. Like it's like that goes back to the 4 Ps. Like people don't learn the fundamentals. You know, it's funny. I was thinking about this podcast this morning because I get asked a lot about what books do I recommend. And one of the books, it's an old book. I think it was written in the early 90s. It's called All I Ever Needed to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. It's by Robert Fulghum. And I am telling you, these are the things business people need to learn. That is it. You learn these things, you practice these things, you will be successful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about the 4 Ps
Yeah.
because I went to school for computer science and communications. So somehow I avoided or didn't realize I was going to be in marketing. So I never officially learned about the 4 Ps, but I definitely had heard of them. But it doesn't seem like we're really doing them these days.
No, we're not. And it's a problem. So the 4 Ps, right,
Yep.
just to repeat them, are product. So the thing you sell, your product could be a service if you're a service organization like a Deloitte, right?
Yep.
Your place, that's your distribution. So that could be your sales team. It could be e-commerce. It could be brick and mortar, right? It could be, if you're a service, how do you deliver that service, right?
Right.
Pricing. There's so many ways that you can do pricing now. How do you want to do pricing? Price for performance, price by seat, price by license, price by volume, price by usage, price, that's important.
Right. Right.
So those three are really, really important today because the transparency and the access to information today, especially for B2B marketers. So I just saw a stat today because we're thinking about our onboarding at Flexera and we're doing some research into it and we're thinking about the overall sort of experience.
Yeah.
And customers at any stage in their journey, prospects to retention, look at 60 pieces of content and they don't look at them in an orderly fashion.
Right.
Okay. So you really have to think about the fundamentals. You have to think about what is your product? What are people saying about it? How does it work? How long does it take to onboard someone? How are you offering that up? Are you offering that up in a way that reflects what you're trying to communicate to the marketplace? Does it reinforce what you're saying? Does your pricing reinforce what you're saying? Are you a high price provider? Are you a low price provider? Okay. So the three P's are really important about the fourth P, which is promotion, which I had not mentioned yet, right?
Right.
Here's the issue. Marketers have now been put into this bucket to be just promotion. Promotion is the communication, is
Right.
the right, is the website, unless you're an e-commerce person that might not be in the marketing space, is the analyst relations in my space, right? The public relations, the demand gen, the branding, all of that, product marketing, all of that is in the promotion P.
Right.
The issue is to do really good marketing in today's day and age, you really need to be able to impact the other three P's.
Right.
And what has happened, and I don't know why, I honestly don't know why. Um, I'm sure, and I know our audience isn't this, but in a packaged good environment, they are probably still involved in the four P's.
Right.
Outside of a packaged good environment, it might be because it's so complex, right? Like if you think
Mm.
about financial services, or you think about like when you're developing a credit card product, you have risk and you have, you have all these sort of levers you're pulling.
Right.
But but marketing should be part of the voice of the customer and
Yeah.
helping to give perspective around that, which it touches all of these things, right?
Right.
And I
Yeah.
think you get into
Yeah.
places where you have a sales led culture, you have an engineering led culture, and it gets out of whack, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
And,
once worked
and
for a VP of marketing who was also the VP of product,
yeah,
which can be a good thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think, especially in the tech space, right? If you're in a complicated space, a lot of times you need to have someone with an engineering background on
Mm-hmm.
the product side. And generally, a marketing person may not have that background. There
Agreed.
are engineers who become marketers. I find those, it's hard to find someone who's conceptual and analytical,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's really sort of, you need to tap into left brain, right brain, I believe, to be a really successful marketer today. At least that's how I've been successful.
Yeah. It seems like a
Um,
common thread. I think a lot of us all share that. Well, I'm not really right. I'm not really left. I'm kind of this sort of like I like both, you know.
right,
So the whole Myers Briggs. No, oh, you're a complete feeler. Well, I'm like 51% feel, so I
right,
don't exactly
right,
relate to that
right,
super feeler, and I
right.
don't necessarily relate to the super analytical person. I'm kind of doing a little bit of both.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And it's funny you talk about that because when I was in business school getting my MBA, we did, I don't know which one we did, but we did one of those personality tests, right? So they could put
Yeah.
you in your teams and your groups for school. And I was like, covered everything like equally. And they sort of looked at me like, we've never had someone like you in the MBA program. And I'm like, welcome to my life. I get that all the time. We don't know what to do with you. You're sort of unusual.
I would have been like, does that get me out of the finals? What do I get for this honor,
No, they
this
sort of
award?
just like went, interesting.
Oh, crazy, crazy. So yeah, a little bit of everything, right? Because there's the feeling, but then there's also the measurement and that part of
Yeah.
it. So you need a little
Yeah.
bit of
And
both.
also, I think we all need to think about systems
Mm-hmm.
and operations, right? So something
Yeah.
my CEO said to me when I first started, 3 months in, and we were running here to get a bunch of stuff done in like no time.
Yeah.
And he asked me, "Do I have buyer's remorse?" And I said, "Absolutely not." And
Oh,
he
for
said,
starting there?
yeah, for starting there, because
Okay.
it was a big change for me.
Got it.
And I said back to him, to you, and he said, no, he's like, I knew you were going to be creative, but I had no idea that you were an operator.
Mm,
But
I
I
like
can't just
that.
create and then I have to scale it somehow, right? I have
Right.
to make it work.
Right.
And
Right.
I get the business fundamentals. I get like it's not just about a message or a lead. We have to contribute to the bottom line in an effective way. And
Right.
I think some marketing people shy away. Like I think there's like a balance, right? Like I think marketing people sometimes shy away from thinking about the numbers and the money and the analytics. And I'm here to tell you, you don't have to be an accountant or a finance major
Mm,
to really think about the numbers. You have that support usually in a regular size, in a mid-sized company, right?
right.
But you also can't leave behind the conceptual thinking that gets you to a good insight to cut through, because no one has enough resources or time.
Right.
So you have to sort of balance the two sides and think about the two sides. And I think bringing us back to the 4 Ps,
Mm-hmm.
if you think about marketing across the 4 Ps as a construct, it's a really simple, thoughtful construct to think about your business. And you don't get lost just in the communication because it's only one piece.
It's so true. It's like get back to the fundamentals. And,
Yeah,
I think, what is it, like in the Mad Men days? I think this was a
yeah,
topic, like marketing had its hands in a lot. You had to know about the product. You had to,
right,
and oftentimes it was the marketers informing product of what the users were looking for because they're the ones interfacing with them. And so
right.
somehow we got all squirrely and we ran away. And then
Yeah,
now sales talks to the customer. We don't. And the product talks to the customer. We haven't. And it's
yeah.
like, wait, hold
It's
on a second.
bizarre.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be this way. And when you mentioned the numbers and it's okay and you should be more and more involved, the word that came to me was accountability. And what's
Yeah,
crazy is when you run away from it, you think you're safe, but you're actually not. It's actually worse. It's counterintuitive. The
yes,
more accountable you are, and if you're doing a good job, the more likely you are for sure going to stay. It's the
correct.
marketers that don't have any accountability that are the first to go when there's like a layoff, but the ones that are part of the machine that's generating the business and the money, like you don't get rid of sales if you need to increase sales, you got to
Right.
get more of those. So
Right,
yeah.
right, right. And I love that, but I love business, right?
Yeah.
I love how business works. I love to try and figure out how to solve the business problems, right? And I see marketing as a big tool for that. And the 4 Ps is a really good framework, right? That's your whole
Right.
business. Pricing, product, place, promotion. It's your whole entire business. And it's so funny because I remember talking to Amazon and they're like, well, we don't do marketing. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? You're like the monster freaking marketers of the world.
Right.
You are so good at personalization. You are creepy, creepy town,
Right.
and you are machines, right? You
Right.
place, price, distribution, right?
Yep.
Right. Place, price, and product. They got it all. So they
Yeah.
don't need the promotion. Now they're sort of getting into promotion because they're growing even more. So you see some ads and things like that. But come on, three of the four, they were rocking fundamentally.
Yeah.
And if you think about performance marketing, right, the new name for direct response,
Yeah. Right.
they were doing it
Right. Oh,
at
because
hyperspeed.
I don't remember how I first learned about Amazon. Do you?
Well, I am a tech geek from way back when. So, and I had to be, because I was on the agency side and I was a strategist,
Okay.
I saw them first, probably from an article. And then I'm a
Okay.
book reader. I read a lot. Like people think I'm cuckoo because I read so much. So I was first to sort of get hooked on the drug that is Amazon.
You know what's crazy? It's so prevalent these days. I don't remember when it became a thing for me personally.
Yeah.
Like it kind of has always been around. And I'm thinking, okay, I remember the old look. Did I buy books? I think.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I think it really hit that point where when you have the app, and the sad thing for Borders or Barnes and Noble, it's like, huh, I have this book, scan Amazon,
Right.
we'll do it for $10 less. You're like, sold.
Right. Right.
Barnes and Noble's like, what about us?
Right.
Oh man. Yeah. So innovation, just getting back to those 4 Ps, there's a simplicity in that, right? It's not
Right.
super complicated. There's not 9 Ps to remember.
No.
It's just 4, but it can really have such an impact.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's talk about some of those things that aren't the 4 Ps and have lots of buzzwords around them. What's your take? You heard it here, everyone. What's your take on 3 letters ABM? What is that?
Okay. Personalization,
Is that what it is?
focus, prioritizing your top customers or your best markets. It again is buzzwords. Now, for people to do that well, I don't think people understand if you do that well, it is an investment of time, money,
Mm,
and resources, right? So if you do that well and you are hyper targeted, say you have a small universe, say you have 100 customers, right? Because some people are selling big, big things. I had a client who was a global aluminum can manufacturer, one of the
Nice.
largest. So they had about 100 customers ever, right? Because
Wow.
it's like the Coca-Colas of the world, right? So they could do an ABM campaign super targeted,
Right.
right? Because
Yeah.
they knew a lot about their customers. They knew what they wanted, and they could send out sort of nurturing campaigns. Now, I see a lot of people doing direct response and they're calling it ABM because they're using analytics and direct response tools that you can measure. But if you're truly doing it well, you're making a big upfront investment around thinking about how do you truly solve a problem, not only for a vertical, but you probably even want to get more specific than that. So it takes a lot of research. It's almost like, so if you're on the flip side, okay, on sort of the broad spectrum marketing side, it's direct response and personalization, right?
Mm-hmm.
On the closer inside, it's closer to a really good salesperson, right? Because
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
good salesperson is going to go out. So it's a way to scale a good salesperson, because a good salesperson is going to go and do their research. They're going to look at, 10Ks, and they're going to look at articles, and they're going to research the executive suite, and they're going to research who's connected to who. And they're going to sort of connect all the dots to,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this is how I connect what I'm selling to what they're trying to do as an organization.
Right.
That's a
Right.
lot of work.
It is. It's
But
not.
if you're going to do
Yeah.
ABM, that is the type of work you should be doing, right?
Right. I've said it like probably a million times, not here, but anything that encourages you to get to know your customers better and prioritize your contact with them is good in my book. But
Right.
what can drive me crazy is when we, maybe is it a marketing thing, or we all just do this because we're trying to sell stuff? But like when you like make it a thing, and you
I,
turn it, you give
I
it a
think
name, and
I think people give it a name because they want to sell stuff
yeah.
and they want to brand themselves, and they're trying to stand out.
And
In
is
the
that
market.
wrong? Or
Well,
or are we just jealous? We want to find something cool like that too.
I think it's bullshit.
Yeah. Good. Ooh, 30 minutes in, finally we have the real Laura. That's awesome.
I think it's bullshit, because here's what happens, right? Because you're in a room with non-marketers in any organization. You're in a room with non-marketers and they start throwing terms around. You're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
It's true.
Can you
It's
please
true.
define what you mean when you say that? And they're throwing around this lingo that they heard in some, you know, conversation, some conference, read on a blog post, whatever it
Heard on
is,
a podcast.
heard on a podcast. And I'll be like, what are you talking about? And you can't get to solving the problem. And I always ask my cross-functional partners, talk to me when I am tell me when I'm talking marketing lingo,
Right.
because that doesn't help us collaborate. Because
No,
that's
it
the other
doesn't.
thing. It sets boundaries. It sets it's so funny. So it's sort of related story. I used to work a lot with heavy duty analytics people when I was on the agency side. And I was always trying to do creative things with analytics to help my clients scale faster, right? Scale
Sure.
with personalization, scale with whatever it was. And they would be talking like up here. And I'd say, okay, you sound really smart, but do you want to sell this and help the client, or do you just want to sound smart?
Right.
It's like, what's your goal? Like, think
Right.
about it from an empathetic perspective. And where do you get further? You get further in an environment where people are overwhelmed if you start to talk in a language that they want to hear,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So, like, it's the same thing with marketing is communication at scale. But
Yeah.
so when you start to build all this jargon, it just creates so much chaos.
Yeah. We're just trying to connect too, right? Just trying to connect with people, and you don't connect with them using crazy words.
No, you say I'm smarter than you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, okay, who cares?
I think of like a date, a movie, you mentioned movies or something, and it's like a
Yeah,
date or a first date,
yeah,
and if anyone comes to that and is like throwing down lingo, it's like, okay, are you trying to impress me, or
right,
are we going to actually connect at some point? Because I have no idea what you're talking about. And it's getting kind of boring, honestly.
right,
Yeah.
totally. And again, do you want someone to listen to you, or do you want to throw around lingo because you sound smart?
Right.
What's the goal?
Right. So these things are cool if they're driving us to be better marketers. But if we're putting up, like, we just got rid of, we're trying to align with sales, right? And
Right.
it's like we just got rid of something good, but now we're adding some back in. It's like, come on, let's connect with sales. What's your take on the whole, sales versus marketing battle?
I hate the sales marketing battle. I think it's a waste of time.
Hmm.
I think it's dumb. I
Yeah.
think it's particularly in today's day and age, right? Because most sales happen before they ever get to a salesperson.
Right.
Most sales, I just saw, we just commissioned a bunch of research. It validated that immensely, right? Here's the thing. You can't make for organizations that have complex, long sales cycle products, you need a good consultative salesperson.
Yeah.
And so if you have a good consultative salesperson, that helps you close a deal and build a relationship. It's
100%.
but you need to help that's one person.
Right.
Marketing needs to help them scale. Also,
Yeah.
we need to help them soften the beach. Remember what I said about branding?
Yeah.
Branding helps open doors. No one got fired for hiring IBM,
Right.
right?
We keep saying that. It's driving me crazy. Like I said it on the last podcast, like it's a thing. I
It's
don't
a
even know if
thing.
that's true, but maybe it is true
It
because
is true. It is true. You
it,
see the behavior all the time. People
yes.
hire McKinsey not because they're the greatest in
Mm.
the world, but hey, McKinsey said it. And they might come back to you and say the same thing three people told you yesterday.
Yeah, I think I just need to, like, for my own company. No one gets hired hiring Treasure Impact. Come on, people. Bring it
so
on. Bring on your
so
crazy budget.
So I tend to be open to this. I'm very transparent. I encourage my team to be transparent and open with salespeople
Yeah.
and sales questions. I try to explain where I'm coming from. I use research and help them. I really, really try to bridge that gap. And I think it's better for the business. I think both sides get caught up in their egos and maybe in some insecurity around,
Oh yeah.
am I really adding value? So then
Yeah.
go back to your metrics.
Yeah.
Go back to your goals. Are your goals really adding value to the business? If they're not, figure out goals that you can, and then you can show them,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that helps align everybody. But I think the sales and marketing thing it makes me tired
Mm-hmm.
because it's a waste of precious resources.
Yeah.
It really
It's
is.
frustrating. Yeah. I once went to an interview. This is back in the day when I was just a wee little marketer and I didn't know any better. Less of an opinion, and I was interviewing for this company, and I remember them saying you should interview with some of the sales directors here. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that seems like a good idea. Like, we're gonna work together. And one of them, when we were chatting, he's like, you know what? I think that sales and marketing should always hate each other. Like, they do, and they probably should. It's probably good for business. And I just stuck with me because I'm like, that doesn't seem like it would be a good idea. I didn't obviously work there, but it's just like, whatever, get out of here. I don't have time for you.
No, no, it's a waste of resources.
Yeah.
And increasingly, it needs to be more together.
Yeah. Yeah. I think,
Um,
it's one of the things I see is like different personalities, right? It's different
yeah.
missions, different types of
Yeah.
engagement.
So something that might have helped me, because I sort of have a unique background, right? I
Hmm.
lived in advertising for a long time. So we get to a certain level in advertising, you are selling all
Yes.
the time, all
Yes.
the time. So I can relate to the ups and downs of a sales guy. I get it. And actually I'm sort of glad I don't have to be that person right now. It's hard.
Right.
And
It is hard.
I was selling hope and ideas. I wasn't
Yeah.
even selling a thing,
Right.
right? So, you know,
Airtime.
yeah. So really it was like, believe how smart I am because you're buying how smart I am, right?
Right.
It's like,
Right.
how do I know that you're the person who can solve my problem?
You mentioned the left brain, right brain being really helpful with marketing. Just some kind of toe dip into sales, whether it's full on or
Yeah.
partial. For
Yeah.
me, it was tuxedos. I was a marketer and I was helping a friend out who's running a tuxedo rental company, and they would have these bridal shows, and they would have different vendors, and you'd have
Uh-huh.
all these brides running around, and you'd want to get them to sign up to come to the shop to rent tuxedos. And so the job that they called it a tuxedo model, which got me interested. So I could say I'm a tuxedo model. And
Marketing
for everyone listening to this, just believe me, I'm gorgeous. And don't go to YouTube. Don't go.
works.
Um, and so I just remember you'd stand there and they'd come by and you'd have to be like, hey, could you sign up? But you would have to leave a deposit, which was $10. It was refundable, but it was like one of those things. It was like pulling teeth. If they're not really interested, they're not going to do it. There are all
Right.
these little micro sales lessons. Don't spend too much time with the no's.
Right.
Objections are okay, but
Right.
like move on,
Right.
and all these different things. You're right. You totally appreciate sales. I also remember you mentioned the ups and the downs. I remember being in one location where they're just not feeling my vibe.
Right.
Like that location, I think it was like Uptown Boston. They're like, I don't need a discount on tuxedos. I could buy 4 of them. Like, oh, my whole routine is like shot. Whereas
Yeah.
in Maine, I had 2 clipboards at a time, and I was like, here you go, sign you up. But I
Yeah.
remember the
Find your
manager,
market.
yeah, he would like bring me a drink. He's like, here, rum and Coke. You don't worry, you'll get the next one. And it was just very this emotional. I mean, it's not easy. You
Yeah.
gotta. So
No.
if you have respect for that, you understand it, then you can
Yes.
approach it better. And it sounds like that's what you're doing.
Yeah, and I found in my career, mutual respect goes a long way. And I
Yeah.
think that a lot of people don't do that. So like I grew up through, I've done events and I've done TV and I've done direct mail and I've done, and there's all these little fiefdoms like, oh, you're a direct mail person, you're not as cool as the TV people. And
Ooh.
like, oh, you're a TV person, you're not as cool as the web people. And the web people they're just engineers. They don't get creative, and it's
Right.
like, people, we all are smart and do good things. Let's work together, right?
Right.
So I think there's a mutual, not just the empathy, but a mutual respect for the other goes a long way to move the business forward.
Yeah.
What is the business trying to do? It's not your own personal like ego fiefdom. It's like,
Right.
how do we move the business forward? That's when I get frustrated, when people are not making decisions for the business.
Right. Like move the team forward, not you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
come on. Right. Yeah, and when I think about the respect thing too, I was like, well, okay, I respect sales, but how do we make them respect me? Any thoughts on that? How do you earn the respect from the other
God, I,
department?
I think it's trust. You have to be willing to spend a lot of time with them.
Mm,
So when I came in here and listen, and then when you promise something, you deliver on that promise,
right.
right? It's not talk, talk, talk. It's like, I promise this, I'm going to deliver. I promise this, I'm going to deliver. Also, how about they're smart, right? So
Yeah.
I
Well, the
most
good
people
ones
are
are.
smart.
Let's be fair.
Well,
There are
I'm
some
going to
that aren't
say,
very smart.
I'm going to give most people the benefit of the doubt. Most people see
Sure.
what's happening in a company and organization, and they will respect hard work and thoughtfulness,
Mm,
right? I mean, and those are again fundamentals. So time, hard work, do what you say what you do,
right.
right? And when I came in, it's so funny. I got tasked with building a new brand in like 2 seconds. It was insane. Um, but I came in and ran a system that I've run before to build new brands. And so I started out with workshops
Mm,
with salespeople, because
yeah.
who had insight for me to build on? Well, it was the sales team here. And no one had ever done that here ever.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
Well,
So,
first
so,
time for
so
everything, I guess.
Well, again, I guess we go back to that fundamentals thing. It's like,
Yeah.
guys, go back to the fundamentals. Go back to the fundamentals. It works wonders for me. I built
Right.
a brand and 2 enterprise websites in 4 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're like, boom, mic drop. What
Yeah.
next, Casey?
Well,
That's what I've done.
fundamentals.
Right.
Fundamentals.
So it wasn't some so what I'm hearing from that is it wasn't some brand new goofy tech of some acronym you've never heard of.
No.
You went back to the core and were like, there's 4 or 5 things I need to focus on, and then we're
Yes.
gonna make this thing happen.
Yes. Yes. I had a
Yeah.
super focus. What's the insight we're driving? Who's the target? How do we create a message that resonates? And then how do we scale that? Now, there
Right.
was a tech component of that. We had some weird CMS here that people weren't using as a CMS, content management system,
Yeah.
for our website. And I said, if we're switching to Adobe, done. And we're going to use it as a content management system, So there was some tech involved, right?
Oh
But
yeah.
it
Oh
wasn't
yeah.
driving any decision.
Right, right. It wasn't the
Right.
shiny thing that
No,
created your strategy for you. Just like the
no,
people with it's dead, probably want to take that with a grain of salt. It's the people that, don't let your tech drive your strategy, let your strategy drive your tech.
correct, correct,
Yeah.
correct, correct. And
What
the fundamentals included qualitative research, right?
nice.
So, you know,
What kind of research? What kind was it?
so I'm a firm believer. So I think that research in the 80s and 90s got too complicated because people got scared.
Mm,
And so they were doing these big honking quantitative research studies about everything and anything. And it was like $1 million in 12 months. And it's like, no, 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 no. No one has that anymore. Maybe
right.
P&G, right? But I said no. So I went to work for a user experience design firm. And I said, I love how UX research is done. So if
Yeah.
you're a fan of Nielsen Norman, this is a plug for them, I guess. Nielsen Norman started user experience design. Okay, they created it. And so if you look, they have a stat. You only need 6 users in a user group to define 80% of your problems on a website. Okay, you'll see a pattern after 6 users
80% of the problems.
on your website. Yes, Nielsen Norman.
Wow.
Okay,
Only
so I
6.
said, yes, exactly. So I said, that's interesting. I wonder if I could do qualitative and start to see patterns after 25, right? I
Right.
had to sort of expand it if I'm sort of trying to understand 25 per group, right? So if you have multiple targets, then you have to have more. But, and you know what? Time after time, I saw a pattern at about 15 people in
Mm.
in the qualitative research.
This is like buyer interviews kind of thing. You're talking to
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, customers, right? So recruiting customers, then I called it a protocol, but basically it's your interview script, right?
Yep.
And you would then have your interview. I'd want you to record a transcript so you could see patterns in their language. The
Mm-hmm.
other fabulous thing about doing that is that you get language to put into your marketing
Yeah.
that creates instant empathy, right? So how I do research is a little kooky combo of borrowing from user experience design research and making it marketing qual. And I find that it gives you enough insight in a quick way to create something really that resonates,
Yeah. I think some people
right?
are scared. They think it's going to take 100 conversations, but
No,
it, the
no.
patterns are there.
The patterns are
Yeah.
there, and I have to tell you, I did this over and over again over 5 years for multiple different sectors and clients, B2B and B2C, and it worked every time.
Hmm.
And if you talk to sort of anybody who's savvy about research in the space, they will admit this too, unless they're selling something to you. Now, here's the caveat. If you work in an organization with a culture that will eat you alive on, well, is that statistically significant and all that other BS? Um,
Right.
you have to preface, guys, this isn't quantitative research. It's not what it's built for purpose to create some insights for us within the constraints we have, right?
Right.
But if you know your environment and your culture is not going to buy it, then you can't do it, unfortunately, right? So
Yeah.
you have to read the room. But it's worked. I've worked in lots of cultures where it's worked. You just have to set the expectation up front in terms of what
Yes.
this research is going to do and be.
Yes.
Okay.
Expectation setting. It's a
Ah,
sales
another
thing. It's a marketing
fundamental.
thing. Fundamental.
Another
Whether you're
fundamental.
selling, whether you're doing, whether you're an employee, with your team member, like setting expectations of what we've agreed. This is what we're doing, and this is what you can expect. And right, no
Yes.
surprise. It's the surprises. That's where all the drama comes from.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. So I don't know I went down a rabbit hole. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what we do. We go down rabbit holes. Speaking of which, I got a great rabbit hole I'm curious about. I want to know, who are you? Like, where
Oh
did you
God.
come from? How did you be? I mean, you say you have this crazy background, but like you've become this like free radical, marketing free radical, wizard of the high seas, BS smasher. Thor's hammer is like sore over here. It's like, oh, give me a break. Thor's hammer needs the weekend. We're gonna give it the weekend. But like, take us back, like little Laura days. Did you
Oh
always
God.
did you always
So
think in marketing or what?
no, so I was a dancer. So I started dancing. I was a ballerina at 3 and I modeled and
Oh
I actually
wow,
acted and I was in art class. Like I was a super creative person.
wow. So we were both
Um
models, is what you're saying. We're both
it
models.
was awful because I actually ended up with an eating disorder at one point, but that's a
Oh
different story.
no.
I'm good now. I'm good now. I'm
Good.
super plump. Anyway, so I have a different kind of eating disorder. I eat everything. So,
Right.
uh, anyway, I was super creative person, but I was raised by parents who were poor, like crazy poor growing
Hmm.
up, and they made it to the middle class. And I also was good at school. Right. I was very good at school and I tested well. So my parents were like, you're going to Illinois, University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana,
Yep.
and you're going to major in something practical, and you're going to get a practical job,
Right.
and da, 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 da. So I went to University of Illinois, and I wasn't going to go into business because I didn't love numbers.
So they wouldn't let you do
Um,
dance.
they went no, and I wasn't going to do dance. At a certain point, my junior year of high school, I sort of stepped away from all. I mean, I danced till I
Okay.
was 19, but I wasn't going to. I sort of stepped away from a lot of that
Could
stuff.
you're kind of like, this is more fun than it is, or maybe they took the fun out of it.
No, they scared the crap out of me.
Ah, that's too
They
bad.
said, "You're gonna be a starving artist and you won't like that," and all that stuff. They really scared me. And so I became a political science major
Wow.
because I was pre-law and I was gonna go to law school. My dad was a judge, a lawyer and a
Okay.
judge. Okay.
You seem like you have a few opinions about things, so maybe
Yeah.
poli sci was a good fit.
So it wasn't practical enough for my parents. I actually wanted to be an English major
Right.
because I love to read and write.
Right.
Right again, and my creative side keeps coming out. My creative side just keeps popping out. I can't put it back in. So I went to school for and graduated in a really bad recession
Okay.
before the last recession. I mean, it's some of the millennials think they grew when I graduated in a really bad recession.
But did you
Um,
do the poli sci?
I did.
But you were like telling your parents, "I'll be a lawyer," and your dad's like, "Oh, okay, cool.
Yes,
I'm a
but I
judge." So
also but I also thought I thought I was going to be a senator. I really like got into it, and I went through my dad's election with him, and I actually found that I do not have a thick enough skin.
yeah,
I just
yeah.
don't.
You helped out on a campaign. I did that one
Yeah,
time, and it's just
yeah,
like, ugh. It's like gross.
yeah. And he was just a judge in Cook County.
Yeah,
Like it
yeah,
wasn't a big deal, right?
yeah. You like know someone. They're like they're a nice person, but everyone
Yeah,
else is just super. You're like, oh, this is
yeah.
rough in here. Yeah.
So it was harder to get in law school than med school the time I applied. So I went to law school. And remember I said I'm really good at school. I was
Yeah.
really good at college. I'm not a studier. Oh my God. I was so lazy. I was really good at college. And so I get to law school and I had to take out loans for law school. It's like $100,000, something crazy.
Oh
And
snap.
people were graduating law school and becoming bartenders. So I
Yeah,
started to really panic.
that's a
And
possibility.
and I started to like be super manic about studying and school and I turned into like this different person. And I thought, what? And I did something I'd never done in my life before. I quit law school.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa. And my parents were freaking out. My dad didn't talk to me for a few years. It was bad.
Yeah. That's how you
Um,
know it's there, is when
yeah.
you get the silent treatment, like, uh-oh.
So I was a music freak. I worked at an independent record store through high school, like High Fidelity, the movie, and
Yeah. Did you have pink hair or anything?
I started having pink hair in the late 90s,
Called
early
it.
aughts.
Called it. Nothing but
I had
net
this
on that one.
no, I know. I used to have purple hair. I had all sorts of different kind of hair, but I had to stop because it was wrecking my hair. But anyway, um, it really was. It was wrecking my hair. So I thought I was going to get my PhD in English literature. I was sort of lost. I went to a career counselor. I ended up, I had done special event fundraising as part of my sorority in Panhellenic in college. I did not know being an event person was a job.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I went and became an event person for a nonprofit.
Okay.
And I was in nonprofit for a couple different organizations, and I decided it moved too slow, and I didn't have enough decision making authority. And I really liked the marketing side of what I did, and I thought I had to get my MBA to switch from
Mm.
nonprofit to corporate. So I went full time to the University of Illinois to get my MBA, and I actually almost got my accounting, my CPA, because the classes were so good down there.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's the number one accounting school in the country. So you get really amazing graduate level
Got it. They're like
professors.
really good.
Really good.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
matters.
It
And
yeah, it
so
does.
yeah, yeah. So I loved it, but I got swayed more and more into marketing. And I was the only person in my class that actually did an internship at DDB in
Mm.
between my first and second year. So I worked at DDB Chicago, which was one of the preeminent ad agencies of the time. It was 1996. I mean, they had the Budweiser "What's Up" campaign when I went back there.
Yes.
Like they had all the,
Yes.
Bill
What's
Bernbach is
up?
a legend. Yeah. So I worked there for that summer. I had an amazing time. I worked on Discover Card Grammy Festival. So Music Freak, marketing, Grammy Festival. Like I was backstage with
Wow.
Chicago and some other 90s bands that I can't remember their names right now. I met all these bands. Like it was super fun.
What?
And I
That's a
worked my
job, huh? That's awesome.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. But I worked my butt off. I was part of a pitch team. The executive said, "No one will believe what you did," and I said, "No, you'll tell them." I helped
Right.
win the legs pitch. I helped them win it. Like I helped them win a
Wow.
pitch. Yeah. So then I went back to college, back to school, and everybody there had jobs by December, and I was freaking out. And advertising doesn't know what they're doing 2 weeks before they're going to do it. So Discover was on campus, and they had been my client. So I took a job with Discover Card.
Okay.
And this was the time where you wore hose, skirt suits, and sensible shoes to work.
Wow.
And I worked for a bank, right?
Right.
So I was living in the city, driving out to the burbs in these hose and sensible skirt suits in a big bank. And I was given all the projects that no one else could figure out, like the pilot projects, the acquisition projects, like all the sort of change agent ambiguous projects. And I got them all
Yeah.
done. And I figured out I loved that. I went to work for PBS for a second because they promised me that I could work in television production. And what ended
Yeah.
up happening is I was writing logic to pull names for our direct response campaigns.
Oh, got it. Yeah. You're
And
like,
I'm
I want to
like,
work with Mr. Rogers. And they're like, here's this database. Like, thanks.
yeah, yeah. And so I'm like, And so I ended up, a Discover Card colleague of mine decided to pull me to an agency, and I never
Okay.
went back for over 20 years. And I
Wow.
worked back and forth in these agencies, and I've had clients pull me and bosses pull me. And that's sort of how I've switched jobs, is through my
Got it.
network. I went to work at one point, I know you wanted to hear about this, for Steve Stout, who was Nas's manager. He worked for Def Jam and Interscope Records. He's Jimmy Iovine's protege. He
Okay.
started Translation. Translation was a New York sort of pop culture agency that wanted to open a Chicago office. My State Farm client had asked me to go open up an office for them. Jay-Z owned the agency, so I basically worked for two hip hop moguls for a minute.
I
And that was an experience and a half.
was gonna say, what was that like?
um, so I had a lot of respect from Steve, um, but I was the only person that wasn't afraid of him.
Mm.
And I would have shouting matches with him regularly about the chaos he was creating. And I just was not, I would clean it up and make it better, and the clients would be happy, and then he'd create some new chaos. And
Mm.
I worked on a Super Bowl spot at that place, so that was amazing. I
Wow.
was at McDonald's convention, and they were cheering, and it was sort of amazing. Like I got to do some of the pinnacle things, right, that people want
Yeah.
to do, but it wasn't worth the chaos. It wasn't worth
Right.
my reputation. It wasn't worth, I have a lot of respect for him. He's super smart. But it just wasn't, you know, the thing for me. He would say the
Yeah.
same thing about me.
Yeah.
We have mutual respect for each other. But I was like, too much crazy.
Yeah. It seems like it would be. I mean,
And it's so funny because I talk to people in the music industry and they're like, Laura, that's the music industry. And I was like, oh, okay, good
cool.
thing I didn't go into the music industry
Sweet.
like I
I'll be
thought I
over
wanted
here.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me know when you're ready. Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how,
So, and
yeah, how
you
did
know,
you end up where you're at now? Like
so I was
a
working
little one of those
for,
pieces, peace out to the rapping community, and then you're off to
well, no, well, I did some other things in between. I helped
yeah.
build a small user experience design firm. I quadrupled them.
Wow.
And I met my current chief revenue officer when I was there.
Mm,
So he was working for a mid-sized sales training company, and he had never done any marketing. And I built a full marketing program for him. I was like basically his
wow.
outsourced CMO.
Yeah.
I had then gone to work for a former CEO I love and adore, and I was there for a little while. And Ryan had just come here, and he said, "Hey, we want to redo our brand." So I was just at a new agency, and I thought, "Oh, cool! I'm gonna have a new client
Yeah.
for my new
Right.
agency, right?" And so always selling. So I
Right.
come here and I meet the CEO, and he's like, "When can you start?" And I was like, "What?
It's like I'm here to pitch you.
Wait, what? Come again? What?
When can you
What do you mean?
sign?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
When can I start?" So that's how I ended up here. That's how sort of, and that's most of my career switches have been people in my network have said, "Hey, want to come do this with me?" Right. So
Yeah.
the advice I'd give for people starting out, or even not people starting out, put time in your calendar to network.
Mm,
Create space in your calendar to network. You need it.
you need it.
One, you'll enjoy it.
Right.
Two, you need it.
And if you're having a hard time doing it, just get a little Red Bull and vodka and then start meeting some people.
Well, have coffee with some people, have coffee with
Yes.
someone, have lunch with someone, have a drink with someone. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
even in your organization, right? Like step out of you're in marketing, right? Oh, maybe even within marketing, someone who's not in your current group, have
Right.
coffee with them.
Yep.
And maybe step out to the sales organization, have coffee with them. Maybe talk to an engineer down the hall, have coffee with them.
Right.
Okay, and maybe meet their friends in other organizations. Oh, and have coffee with them, right? You meet someone, they're super interesting to you. Oh, here's a story. I met someone who's interviewing here, and we hit it off. And regardless of if she comes here, we're going to have lunch.
Yeah. Right
because
on.
because here's the deal, and we just instantly connected. So if you meet someone who you instantly connect with, that is rare in this life. That
Mm-hmm.
is just rare. Keep that relationship going, and it takes time. And I'm
Right.
telling you, it's a part of career development.
For sure.
It also will help you. So I know this is the leadership series. You get put in a place where you have to turn around shit fast. You need to tap your network. Like either you need to hire people
Yeah.
fast, you have to field a study fast, you have to get a website up fast, you need an agency fast. You better have a network you can tap into, because otherwise that shit takes time.
Yeah. Right. Because you need someone you can trust yesterday.
Right.
You're
Right.
gonna go shop. It's 9 agencies or do an RFP. You're like, no, you don't have time for
No.
that.
And
But
you
you
have
got
time.
some people you can trust. You
Right.
you you give them a quick message. Yeah.
Right. Right. So there's all sorts of reasons why it makes sense for you to put time and space on your calendar to network once a month, even once a
Right.
month, not even once a week. I do it a lot.
It doesn't even have to be an event. To your point, I'm thinking like go
No,
to some thing. But to your point, it's like
no.
that person. Let's get some coffee.
Right. Or even if your network asks you for a referral, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
networking.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you know someone who was recently laid off and they're a friend of yours, help them find a job,
Right.
right?
Right.
Because come on, in this economy, everybody's been laid off or will be laid off. And if
Oh,
you
for
haven't, you're
sure.
not
Or
doing,
fired.
yeah, right. Fired, whatever.
Totally.
What's the other one? There's another one, redundant, made redundant,
Oh.
whatever,
Oh
right? There's all
boy.
sorts of words for it, right?
That title never fit me.
No, 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 you're like, oh, you work like 3 people. Okay, now I need you to work like 5. That was
Right.
me.
Well,
Yeah.
that's how they know. Right? When you leave, they hire 2 people to replace you or
Oh yeah.
3.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Crazy.
So that's me. And I'm a huge music person. I love music and art, and I pay in a lot to my relationships. Um, Meaning not only, so here's the thing, this is a leadership podcast, right?
Yeah.
And people ask me, why do your teams appreciate you so much? You know what? I got my team's back. And I hire people that are really good at what they do. And then I help them focus and hone their skills. And then I
Right.
support them. Right. And then if I can budget it, I'll do some outside training. If I can't budget it, I will cross train people. I will give
Yeah.
people the benefit of the doubt. I will put time into my team. And I don't think people do that enough. Again, back to fundamentals. But I
Mm-hmm.
actually think that during the first dot bomb, like in the 2000,
Yeah. The pets.com bomb.
yes, that created such a havoc in organizations. They got so lean that they
Mm-hmm.
stopped making time and space to train people at their own expense. How do you scale if people don't know what to do?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then people started moving around quicker.
Right.
And it's like, well, we're not going to train you. You're just going to leave. But then,
Right.
like, now they really do leave because you didn't train them. So
Right.
it's a
Right.
circle. Yeah.
Right. So, there's things that people don't just like that you could tattoo fundamentals on my forehead, right?
Fundamentals. I think we just named the episode as well. Fundamentals.
Yeah, or old school. You call it old school.
Old school.
Old school hip hop. We can
Making
back it with like some Ice Cube or some
bringing
Public
back the
Enemy,
OG. Yeah.
NWA.
the new marketing. Luckman marketing principles.
Well, I get called LL Cool K, so
LL Cool K. I like
yeah,
that.
that was my nickname at one point, and they shortened it to Cool with a K.
That's funny. I was Cool Man KC for a while.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I could
It's all
see
about
that.
being cool in marketing. It's all we do. All day, every day.
Well, and I'm such a geek. You can tell, right? I'm goofy and a geek. I'm not that cool.
Really? No, I was like, yeah, let's make this happen. This is awesome. No, it's all about being real. I think that
Yeah,
authenticity,
yeah,
is big these days.
yeah,
And
yeah.
your message is authentic, then
Well,
it's
yeah, and I
awesome.
don't know how else to be, so I sometimes get
Right.
myself into trouble.
Right. Well,
But
at least
people know where I stand. Someone said, "How
yeah.
do you build a relationship with sales?" Well, I am who I am, right? They know they. I had a sales guy. I love him. He left, and I miss him. He said, "Laura," I said, "I don't know." I said something on a call. I called him out or something. He said, "I love your honesty."
Right? That's sales. Sometimes marketing gets
Yeah,
sensitive. Like, what?
yeah,
You called me out? Sales is like, oh, that happens every call. I'm lucky if it
yeah,
only happens once.
yeah.
Yeah. Man, you mentioned though, like the coffee thing. Any tips? Like, do you need a lot of people, a little people?
Start with
Are you
the little
intentional?
people.
Yeah.
Start with the little people. Start with the people you like.
Okay.
Right? People think they put this should in their head that they gotta, and I've done this because I had to do sales for a small agency, and you walk in
Yeah.
a room, you don't know anybody, and you're
Yeah.
like, shit.
Yeah. Who do I talk
But
to?
what do I talk to? You just start walking up to people and talk to them. And here's the thing: some people are nice and some people are mean. And you
So
just
true.
have to deal with the mean people to get to the nice people. And you might meet some really great people. The other thing is if you join some organizations, then join a committee or volunteer to be a mentor. That's how I've also built relationships, is doing
Mm,
sort of smaller committee-based things in large organizations. Because
right.
then you can build a relationship on a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I mentor informally and formally across the board. So I'm actually an official mentor for the Executives Club of Chicago. And it's a co-mentorship with another person.
Yeah.
And we have 9 mentees from all walks of life. They're usually mid-career.
Yeah.
But it's a really great way for all of them to get to know people, right? And then I'm also a mentor for She Runs It. And the funny thing is I mentor someone who has a mentee. So now we have like this 3-generation mentor thing going on, and we meet together, right?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. It's really
I've
cool.
had always had like coaches and different, and I remember one particular time I have a coach who has a coach, and
Right,
like to put it in perspective, he told me how much he costs. I was like, oh, okay, never mind. I'll keep working with you.
right.
But it was like all just sort of trickle down too. As he learned something, he would share
Yeah.
that with me, and
And I think when people are networking, they got to think about giving.
mm,
If they can go into the conversation where they're giving, I think it puts them on stronger footing,
yeah,
particularly if they're out of work.
yeah,
Right? Your self-esteem sort of takes a hit. But even an out of work person can help someone,
yeah,
right? Because it's all about numbers and extending your reach,
yep.
right? Think about it as a marketer, right? What's your reach and frequency?
Mm-hmm. Reach and frequency. Spoken like a true ad person.
One of the many things I have in my background. Oh my God, but don't ask me to explain all that stuff.
No, we'll do that next time.
And points and oh my God, I had good media people. I'm like, oh God, I don't want to know.
They're like, Laura, tell us about points. You're like, great. Well, let me introduce so-and-so on our team.
Exactly.
Our statistician here that will run us through the pointing system.
And do we need to make good? And why do we need to make good? And I'm like, no, that's not me.
Right. Seriously. Well, where are some of the places that people can connect with you? They hear this, they're like, I want to learn from her. I want to stay in the loop.
LinkedIn,
Okay.
I'm obsessed with LinkedIn.
Yeah.
It's a problem. I am on Twitter, but I don't visit it all that much. It's probably bad that I don't do that, but I have to focus. I am on Insta.
Nice.
Are
you an Insta star or are you mostly consumer on there?
Oh, I do random. One, I don't like pictures of me. And I mostly don't like taking pictures. I'm really like an in the moment person. So I'm mostly on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every now and then I like to throw a picture into their filters and be like, oh, I didn't realize I experienced that.
Yeah.
That looks great. And then share that. But you're right. I must be just beyond the generation to be like, yo, check me out.
I know I'm not. And I never was that. I don't know. I hate pictures of me. So I'm just not into it.
Well, when the show comes out, there's about to be a bunch of them.
I know. So Ashley knows I probably won't look at them. So she'll tell me how it goes.
Okay. Well, maybe I won't send them to you directly then. Direct response.
I always
Okay.
hate
So
them.
LinkedIn, Twitter. Fantastic. Thank you so much for being on here. This has been fun. We'll have to do this again. Check in
so fun.
next year, like
yes, for sure.
So often.
For sure. And if you're ever in Chicago, come see us. We'll do tequila shots together.
I was going to say coffee or lunch, but you got me at tequila. I will 100% do tequila with you in Chicago.
I love it.
And then we'll record afterward and see what that sounds like.
Oh, no.
Never mind. No recording. We'll leave that at home.
No recording. No.
We got to tell people what we really think.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I'll definitely do that. Same likewise. If you're ever in the Boston area, we should connect up.
For sure. I have agency friends there. If you ever see the agency merge, I have some friends there.
Oh, sweet.
We're really wonderful people.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure that network, based on what you described, it's just everywhere, and
it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. I love it though, because if I go somewhere, I can have dinner with someone.
Right. Instead of the hotel restaurant all by yourself. Yeah, totally. Well, this has been great. Thank you so much for being on here.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and for those listening, if you've learned something, and I know you have because I literally have 2 pages of notes over here.
Oh, geez.
Then share this with someone else. Be a thought leader for one person, 2 people.
Yeah, and let
your
me
network.
Know what you learned, because I always think I just know this stuff.
Right.
It's not anything new,
Yeah, if you want to hear more about a topic, reach out to Laura or shoot me a note and give us some feedback on that. But yeah, this is fantastic. This is you're wonderful. And people don't realize it. You were feeling sick yesterday. Your birthday's today.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even tell. So
good.
I wonder what happens. What happens when we do the show again and you're not sick? I should probably prepare for that now.
Yes, you should. Maybe I should do a tequila shot before then, so I'm a little calmer.
Oh, totally. It's on. It's on.
I actually used to have someone who worked for me who made me drink a glass of wine at lunch because she couldn't keep up.
She slows you down. I would have started bringing in Red Bull for her. Be like, no, you catch up to me. Don't slow me down. We got work to do. That's crazy.
Anyway, well, have a good holiday.
Yeah, you too. You too. And, for everyone out there, this has been the Hardcore Marketing Show. We will catch you all next time. All right. A big thank you to today's sponsors. Cheshire Impact, helping marketers and sales win, maximizing the use of Pardot and Salesforce. And a big thank you to Qualified.com, the #1 live chat and chatbot platform for Salesforce and Pardot. Remember the giveaway. If you have Salesforce Pardot and you want a free copy of my book, Marketing Automation Unleashed, then you go over to Qualified.com, engage in a chat, do a demo, and tell them that Casey sent you, and that book will be on its way to your door. All right. We'll see you all in the next one.